The Taliban didn't attack us on 9/11. Al-Qaeda did.
Well,
Al-Qaeda attacked us on 9/11.
One of the standouts from Democratic Debate Night 1 was Tulsi Gabbard. Now, to be completely honest, I did not think Tulsi was doing all that well for at least the beginning of the debate. Her first answer was a non-answer, so she was asked about equal pay, and then she went into a whole spiel about foreign policy. It was kind of weird. But after that, and when she was actually allowed some screen time, she did have some solid answers. But the best exchange, or the best performance that she had throughout this entire debate, was her exchange with Tim Ryan. So there are two clips here I'm going to show you, and I think these sort of speak for themselves, but here's the first clip.
Leaders as disparate as President Obama and President Trump have both said that they want to end U.S. involvement in Afghanistan, but it isn't over for America. Why isn't it over? Why can't presidents of very different parties and very different temperaments get us out of there? And how could you?
I appreciate that question. So I've been in Congress 17 years, and 12 of those years I've sat on the Armed Services Committee, either the Defense Appropriations Committee or the Armed Services Committee. And the lesson that I've learned over the years is that you have to stay engaged in these situations. Nobody likes it. It's long. It's tedious. But right now we have, so I would say we must be engaged in this. We must have our State Department engaged. We must have our military engaged to the extent they need to be. But the reality of it is this president doesn't even have people appointed in the State Department to deal with these things, whether we're talking about Central America, whether we're talking about Iran, whether we're talking about Afghanistan. We've got to be completely engaged. And here's why. Because these flare-ups distract us from the real problems in the country. If getting drones shot down for $130 million because the president is distracted, that's $130 million that we could be spending in places like Youngstown, Ohio, or Flint, Michigan, or rebuilding.
Congresswoman Gabbard, I'm going to give you 30 seconds, actually, to jump off what he said. He described engagement as the problem. Is that what you will tell
the parents of those two soldiers who were just killed in Afghanistan? Well, we just have to be engaged. As a soldier, I will tell you that answer is unacceptable. We have to bring our troops home from Afghanistan. We are in a place in Afghanistan where we have lost so many lives. We've spent so much money, money that's coming out of every one of our pockets, money that should be going into communities here at home, meeting the needs of the people here at home. We are no better off in Afghanistan today than we were when this war began. This is why it's so important to have a president and commander-in-chief who knows the cost of war and who's ready to do the job on day one. I am ready to do that job when I walk into the Oval Office. Thank you very much. Listen,
All right. That was fantastic. And it actually gets better. So the second clip, in my opinion, is even worse for Tim Ryan. But Tim Ryan here, just parroting the standard status quo foreign policy answer. I mean, he said the lesson that I've learned over the years from being on these various committees is to stay engaged. Yeah, of course they're telling you that because that's in their best interest. That's in the best interest of the military-industrial complex. You didn't realize that maybe you're being influenced by one view on foreign policy when you've been on these committees? I mean, it shows you really how, actually the next clip in particular shows you how unaware Tim Ryan is. But Tulsi cutting in there, this is what she needed to do more of. So like, the first hour of the debate, she didn't get a lot of screen time, but a lot of it was because she was not cutting in like a lot of the other candidates were. So if she did more of this, if Tulsi went after other candidates like this on their answers more often, she would have gotten more screen time. But she did it here, and it went very well. Now, let me get to the second clip because, damn. And there's also fallout from this second clip. So let me just get to it. This is the continuation of what you just saw.
I'm going to go down the line here. Well, you know what? You felt like she was responding. You get 30 seconds. Go.
Good man.
Fair enough.
I appreciate that.
I hear what you're saying.
I would just say I don't want to be engaged. I wish we were spending all this money in places that I've represented that have been completely forgotten and we were rebuilding. But the reality of it is, if the United States isn't engaged, the Taliban will grow and they will have bigger, bolder terrorist acts. We have got to have some presence there. As
The
Congresswoman
Taliban was there long before we came in. They'll be
and
there long before we
exactly.
leave.
Well,
we
they
cannot
were.
keep U.S.
And they were
troops deployed
flying
to Afghanistan thinking that we're going to somehow squash this Taliban that has been there, that every other country that's tried
I didn't say
has failed.
squash them. When we weren't in there, they started flying planes into our buildings. So I'm just saying right now,
the
we
Taliban
have an
didn't attack us on 9/11. Al-Qaeda did.
Well, I understand.
Al-Qaeda attacked us on 9/11.
I understand.
That's why I and so many other people joined the military to go after Al-Qaeda, not the Taliban.
Well, Tim, you should have shut your damn mouth, because that did not go well for you at all. Tulsi Gabbard just, I mean, not to be hyperbolic here, but completely destroyed Tim Ryan. Now, because of that, the Tim Ryan Twitter account, of course, had to extend the embarrassment and put out this tweet: statement from Ryan campaign on Afghanistan. The Ryan campaign releases the following statement regarding Afghanistan. While making a point as to why America can't cede its international leadership and retreat from around the world, Tim was interrupted by Representative Tulsi Gabbard. When he tried to answer her, she contorted a factual point Tim was making. Okay, I'm going to link to the full tweet below. He gets into some foreign policy issues that, look, honestly, if I showed the whole tweet on screen, very likely YouTube would delist my video and less people would see it, which is why I'm not showing the full tweet. But I'll link to the full tweet below. He goes on to say as well that he refuses to be lectured by Tulsi Gabbard. It is an embarrassing tweet. Their campaign should have just taken the loss and moved on. But no, they had to put out this embarrassing defense, and it just made the whole thing worse. And that tweet, by the way, of course, got ratioed. So tons of replies making fun of Tim Ryan and barely any retweets and likes. Now, how do I know that Tulsi performed well here? Google Trends put out a tweet showcasing the searches, the most searched candidates before and after the debate. So before the debate, the most searched candidate was Elizabeth Warren. But then you look after the debate, Tulsi Gabbard taking over the United States. So Tulsi Gabbard, by far the most searched Democratic candidate on that stage. Now, I think that moment was a big reason. So as I said, the beginning of the debate, she was largely kind of flat, I think. But that moment in the last hour of the debate propelled her. And she did a great job there and really showcased her willingness to attack other candidates on their incorrect positions on foreign policy. So this is what I like to see.